Well, howdy, hi, and hello, friends. I am back in the basement with a follow-up video to my 12-hour walk. In this video, I want to talk about my experience with the 12-hour walk challenge, share with you what I learned about myself both physically as well as mentally during the challenge, also discuss what I would do differently if I decided to do this challenge again, if, maybe more like when, and finally, what advice would I share with others that are looking to take on this challenge? So going right into it, let's talk about a few stats and figures. The 12-Hour Walk is a New York Times best-selling book by author and extreme athlete Colin O'Brady. The goal of the 12-Hour Walk is not necessarily a fitness challenge. However, if you want to make it a fitness challenge, so be it. Go for it. The goal of the 12-Hour Walk is really to disconnect from the world and reconnect with yourself. Although you can bring your phone with you, it is to be used in the case of emergency, and for keeping time or as a GPS tracking device. During this 12-hour walk, there's no texting, no talking on the phone, no social media, no music, no YouTube. The idea is to get away from those distractions and to check out of that and check in to who you are. I learned about the 12-hour walk from watching YouTube sensation Timothy Ward. So check out his channel on YouTube. Really positive vibe. Super cool guy, and thank you, Tim Ward, for the 12-hour walk suggestion. I myself walked for 12 hours and 7 minutes. I started off at 5 a.m. and went to 5:07 p.m. on Friday, the 25th of November, aka Black Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. It was a very busy day out there, as you can imagine. I walked a total of 27.5 miles with 600 feet in elevation gain. So relatively flat, not a lot of big hills, but some ups and downs here and there. I walked mostly on city sidewalks. However, there was a lot of time where I was on the shoulder, and sometimes that shoulder was wide, sometimes that shoulder was narrow, along a busy road. I don't advise doing that. Try to skip busy roads that don't have sidewalks if at all possible. And that was about 60% of my walk. The other 40% was along the Loveland trails in Loveland, Colorado. So there's a large variety of trails that circle around the city. Fantastic, beautiful, and great nature area. Fantastic area to walk. So what I learned about myself physically. First and foremost, my feet, my back, my hips, my IT band in my left leg near my left knee. It was fried after about 4 hours. For the last 3 months, I have only been working out in the gym, been trying to gain a lot of muscle, been trying to gain weight and get stronger. So I've skipped the cardio for almost 3 full months. So no biking, no hiking, no walking, no running, and to go out on a 12-hour walk and to try to do it for 30 miles, that was kind of a mistake. It was a definite burner, and for about 48 hours, I was sore, tired, and my left toenail on my big toe is still bruised, and it's kind of a runner's injury, so to speak, which leads me to the other thing I learned about myself during this walk physically is that I need new shoes. The shoes I went out with are a pair of shoes I love and adore. They've been trusted, but they have so many miles on them, so many miles, and that was a mistake to take out an older pair of shoes like that where the cushioning is all broken down. I'm not saying that for this 12-hour walk, if you decide to do it, to go out and buy a brand new pair of shoes. In fact, just the opposite. Brand new shoes oftentimes lead to blisters. But use a trusted pair of shoes with great cushioning and, especially if you're going to go out on a longer walk. I wanted to find out if working out in the weight room, if that strength was functional. So I've made gains in the weight room, put on some muscle, and I'm not trying to necessarily bulk, but I'm trying to, really get my body a lot stronger. So I wanted to see if putting that muscle in my body would be functional strength for walking, hiking, running, cycling, different activities that I really enjoy. And I found out yes and no. So putting that muscle into your body, great idea, of course. Every athlete lifts weights and tries to get their body stronger, good idea. But it doesn't necessarily correlate into functional strength. Just because you're weight room strong doesn't mean you'll be a good football player. Just because you're weight room strong doesn't mean you'll be a great hockey player. Just because you're weight room strong doesn't mean you can go walk for 30 hours or 30 miles and not feel the punishment of doing that. So you got to train within the sport that you want to be in. So if you want to walk 30 miles, you should do some walking. That's what I learned from that. Not secondly, but another area, drink. I did not drink for the first 2 hours of the walk. It was dark. It was cold. I didn't want to reach into the back of my pack and pull out the water and drink. And I don't know why, because I had plenty of water. Another mistake I made was I was just walking at a breakneck pace. I was walking so fast for the first 2 hours, and I don't know why. It was a personal challenge. It wasn't a contest. It wasn't a competition. I wasn't trying to make the fastest known time. I think that was something I'll get into when I talk about the mental side of things, is that I just went so hard, and I don't know why. I really don't. And I knew better at the time. And that was one of the reasons that I was dehydrated. I sweat a lot during that first 2 hours because I was just trudging through, and I didn't drink. So throughout the whole day, I really paid for it because I was very dehydrated. Last thing on the physical end of things, walking loud city streets. I'm not much of a city guy. I prefer to be out in nature. I live in a city, but I prefer to be out in nature. And that's something I would definitely change. I would go out into nature, whether it's in the foothills. I necessarily want to go into the mountains because there's a lot of snow there, and there would be a lot of climbing, a lot of elevation gain that would be exhausting. But I could have gone into a forest, could have gone into a nature trail, could have gone into the foothills for the walk. But I wanted to make it convenient, so I walked just right out from my house, and most of what's around me is city. So I think next time I would skip that, and I definitely wouldn't do it on Black Friday when it's just crazy busy with traffic out there. The mental emotional side of things, well, I learned that I'm very driven, and not necessarily driven to succeed kind of driven, but driven to just get things done. So for instance, I while I was on the walk, I was looking at myself like, why am I just trudging through this? There is no destination. The destination is this journey. It's the journey that I'm on right now. Why am I making this a competition? And I realized I do that a lot. Another example is when I'm making dinner or making a meal, I hurry through it, get through the meal real quick, or get through this making of the meal and washing the dishes so I can relax and enjoy the meal. And there's some merit to that, like, do your work first and then play. But at the same time, I don't enjoy those moments. I miss a lot of moments in life. I do that with, I'm doing yard work, cleaning out my garage. And it's not that those things are fun and, necessarily enjoyable things, but you should enjoy those moments in life. And I realized that God, I've missed out on a lot of my life, even at my job, because I pound through it instead of enjoying that moment, thinking that there's going to be a better moment in the future. And what inevitably happens is you make dinner, you enjoy it, you eat it, but then you got to do dishes, but then maybe you have homework with your kids, or maybe you got to do other chores around the house. You got to get prepared for the next day. So there's always something there. It's more important to enjoy the moment. One of the biggest things I was concerned about when I took this challenge was addiction to my phone. What I found out, the good and the bad, and the ugly of this, is that starting with the good is that I'm not really addicted to social media at all. So I didn't have FOMO or fear of missing out. I didn't miss texting. I wasn't concerned about being out on my own. So that was good. I was able to answer those questions and say, no, I'm not addicted to social media. I can stay off of Facebook, Instagram, and I'm not worried about those things. But during the first, I'd say 2.5, 3 hours, I constantly was grabbing my phone like, oh, what time is it? It's 5 minutes later than the first time I checked it. And I wanted to know, what's the temperature? No, I can't check that. What's the weather forecast? No, I can't check that. Random questions would go into my mind. I'd be like, oh, I'll Google that. Wait, no, I can't do that. Who's playing football today? Oh, what were the scores from Thanksgiving? I can't check that either. Who's playing football next week? Nope, can't check that. So I constantly wanted information. And what I realized, the downside, the ugly part here is the phone. I like having it in my hands, and in fact, here it is. So close to me, It's see, addiction. I had YouTube already loaded up on here. Point being is that these things are security blankets. They kind of act as a pacifier, and they're near us. And I'm going to put my pacifier down now. Something else I learned is a reconfirmation that I am a true introvert. I enjoy being on my own. I enjoy my alone time. No surprises there, because some of the best memories of my life have been doing challenges like the 12-hour walk on my own, going for long hikes, long bike rides, backpacking, going to the movies or on a vacation or camping by myself. I've always enjoyed that. I've always enjoyed my time. But kind of on the flip side of that is the first 2 hours in, I really missed my family. So just because I'm a family man and an introvert, two things can be true at the same time. I enjoy my time, but I really, really missed my family, especially during that 2 hours. That first 2 hours is like, wow, I'm going to be out here alone for 12 hours by myself without my family, and I started to really miss them. I started to really miss my kids, my dog, my wife, my house, because leading up to the 12-hour walk, we had Thanksgiving break and we had spent 6 straight days together. And I just adore being around my family, adore being around my kids. And it was kind of like, I felt like I was losing something being out on that 12-hour walk during the first 2 hours. And instead, I was like, God, I really miss my kids. I wish I could be home with them right now. And instead I had to change my mindset to be like, no, this is a detox. This is a retreat. That's why we're out here today. And then right after that, it was about 3 hours in, this wave of gratitude washed over me. So this wave of gratitude, I was grateful for my family, my dog, my home. I was grateful for my physical body that I was able to perform and go out on 12-hour walks and to be able to do these things. And I just started looking back at my friends and experiences I had and just experiences I've had in life in general. It was like my life flashed before my eyes. And not that I was worried about dying or something. It was just that's what came up. And that's what Colin O'Brady talks about. Things come up. And this is your chance to kind of process them. And I realized just how great my life really is and how much I love it and enjoy it. One of the downsides to this is I spend a lot of time in my head too. I realize that, I don't necessarily buy into astrology, but I'm a Pisces. So you got the fish swimming upstream, the fish swimming downstream. And Pisces are known for being dreamy. Again, I don't put a lot of stock into that, but I realize that, yeah, I am a really dreamy person. I spend a lot of time in La La Land, a lot of time just daydreaming. I'm thinking about the past. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking. I'm not in the moment. I'm not present. And whether that's an astrology thing or not, I just have to say I think I'm just not awake. And that's something that I learned from the 12-hour walk is that you need to be awake to what these moments are that are around you. Look around you. Look at the beauty. Look at the world that you're in. And even though when the cars were whooshing by me and it was really busy, I started to realize, like, wow, feel the temperature. Just feel what's around you. This is pretty magnificent. It's a good life. Which leads me to another thing is that life, it's one step after another. When things get difficult, it's difficult. But it's, things are good, things are bad, things are hot, things are cold. Just one step in front of the other. So as things get difficult, take as many breaks as you need. If life is difficult at work, take a vacation day, take a sick day, take a weekend off, take a week off, whatever. But get back on the horse, so to speak. Just put one foot in front of the other. Circumstances change, things get better. And I realized that during the 12-hour walk, especially as that physical pain came on. Which leads me to, you and I are so much more capable than we think we are. You look at a challenge and you're like, nah, I couldn't do that. No, I couldn't do that. You can. It's so amazing what you can do. You've heard of survival situations and people, lost in the woods or, stranded in an avalanche or a snowstorm somewhere. And they survive. And so there's always a reserve in your tank, whether you realize it or not. You've always got something left in there. And it leads me to my last point about the mental part of this, is during the first 4 hours of my walk, it was fantastic. It was great. I felt good physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every sense. And then after that, this fatigue set in, this massive fatigue. And a lot of it is that I was attempting to do an almost 30-mile walk without any training. And I don't know why I chose the physical challenge of this, but I did. And as I started to go along, about 4 hours in, my body was so sore. My IT band, if you look that up, it feels like a massive cramp in the back of your knee and in the back of your thigh. And it just is very painful. I was kind of limping through. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, I got 8 hours to go. This sucks. I can't believe this. This has happened. This is terrible. And although this was physical pain, it was really a mental game. With 8 hours to go, I had to fight through this and not coddle myself with music or Facebook or social media or something else to distract me. I couldn't watch ESPN on my phone. I couldn't watch YouTube. I had to accept my pain. I had to feel that pain, and I had to work with it and not run away from it. And what was great is as soon as I accepted that moment, accepted that I was in that situation, I stopped criticizing it, stopped playing victim to it. I made this great breakthrough, this mental hurdle. I was able to jump over and accept my circumstances. And from there, I made this choice, and I dedicated myself as like, you know what? Yeah, I'm in pain, but I'm going to do this anyway. This isn't the worst thing. This isn't going to kill me. This isn't, it's just you're in pain. And it kind of just suddenly went away. I mean, I still felt the pain. I still felt the fatigue and the soreness and the tiredness, but I don't know. There's something clicked and was like, accept the moment as it is and keep going. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that. So if I were to do this again, I would say when I do this again, because I think I'm definitely going to. This is what I would do differently. Number one, better shoes. Definitely get a shoe. Don't go out and buy a brand new pair of shoes, but I would get a better shoe. I'd use a better shoe with more cushioning and it has less mileage on it. That shoe that I had definitely led to the IT band soreness and the soreness of my feet. So I would change that up. Secondly, I would slow my pace. I don't know why. For the first 2 hours, I was just trudging through. I just got to make it through this walk. No, it's a vacation, man. It's a retreat. Enjoy it. One of the things Colin O'Brady talks about in his book is setting an intention for something. So I didn't do that. I just kind of let my mind wander, and that's perfectly fine as well if you want to do that. No problem. But I would set an intention on 1 or 2 things I want to work on in my life, and I would have focused and dialed in on that. Fourthly, I would have gone into nature instead of walking in the city. If I do this again, I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to drive into a natural area and start from there. Definitely the city streets, especially during Black Friday, it was just so busy. And as the cars were whooshing by, I really started to get annoyed and kind of agitated by that. Lastly, hydration. I did not drink nearly enough. I should have probably had some salt tabs or hydration tablets or Pedialyte. I brought something like that with me and drank the water that I had. I should have drank a lot more water than I did. Lastly, advice for others considering doing this 12-hour walk. Number 1, do it. Just do it. Take the Nike saying, just do it. It's so worth it. And again, remember, it doesn't have to be a physical challenge. You can walk a mile, you can walk 50 miles, you can walk 100 miles, however many miles you want to walk. It doesn't matter. It's not about the mileage. It's about, tuning in to you. That's what it's really about. So just do it. Secondly, pick a location that you really like. So if you like the city, walk in the city. If you like the country or the more rural environment or a natural environment, go do that, or pick a combination of those. But pick an area that you really like yourself. I definitely recommend an area that you'd like to learn about or explore, or that you just really enjoy and love. Do that. Thirdly, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I can't say that enough. Just, you got to drink. You got to drink and stay hydrated. Don't worry about peeing. There's always a facility or something around the corner where you can pee. Fourth, bring all the essentials that you need: sunscreen, sunglasses, hat, layers for staying warm, good shoes. And here's the best advice. Bring water, food, caffeine. Bring a sugary or savory snack. Having a bag of Cheetos or some M&Ms or Snickers bar cookies or something to look forward to really changes your mentality, because it's like this nice little treat, and you're feeling tired, you're feeling sore, and you break into some cookies, and you're like, yeah, it's going to be okay. And then lastly, remember, be kind to yourself. Be good to yourself. This is not a contest. This is not a competition where you're versing somebody else. And even if it was, you should still enjoy it. But remember, this is a retreat. Go have fun. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. And if you have something to talk about, something to say, please comment below.